Welcome back to the Sideline Sorcerers. We are now entering the final stretch here. We are in the last leg of the season. All these games pretty meaningful. For some teams, not meaningful at all outside of the draft pick positioning. So, as per usual, we're going to launch right on in, talk about last week's recap in terms of our picks and predictions. Pretty good week. I mean, you went 12 and 4. I had a little 13-3 action there, so feeling good.
Yeah, solid performances all around. Even our fans did well. We had a 12-4 performance out of Jimmy and 11-5 out of my dad. So very well-rounded week for the squadron here.
Yeah, love it. It was a little bit more of one of the just chalky, predictable weeks, but we'll
Yeah.
take what we can get for sure. I was surprised San Francisco came out and looked so bad. I mean, it was a rainstorm, but man, they looked absolutely horrible. Not like the Rams played that much better, but to go on the road in a rivalry game in that kind of environment and pull it off is impressive. I went for the under and pulled that one off, but San Francisco -2.5 did not hit. Montana State -10.5. That one hit though. That line got all the way up to 14. It's crazy. So many people bet on that.
hmm
Navy Army over 38.5 was such a good bet. Even went to 39.5. I still liked it. Dallas +2.5. I thought they went out right. Should have taken the money line. Kansas City -4. I thought eventually they'd cover. Jets, Jags over 40.5. I knew eventually that would be an over there. Indianapolis, Denver, though, that was right on the 44, so a little bit of a refund there. Chargers -3, Detroit -1.5. Both of those did not hit. Pittsburgh, Philadelphia over 42. Missed because Pittsburgh just couldn't put up enough points. Pittsburgh +5. They really struggled in that game. Green Bay, Seattle under, though, just barely, but it hit. And then Atlanta -4.5. Also a close one, but a good one. So that was an 8-5 in 1 week.
Nice, dude. Yeah, that was kind of one of your smallest weeks of
Yeah,
best
just because
bets
there
in
was
terms
no
of
real
quantity,
college football. Yeah, not much
but
college football
but
going on.
certainly quality there because you're up a couple units on the week there. So that's what we like to see.
Hell yeah.
Um, we accomplished the goal for my best bets. We said last week if we can get five
Hmm.
out of the eight, we're happy, and that's exactly what happened. So, first one didn't hit, unfortunately. The Jets and Jacksonville under. That game soared over was like I think maybe the third highest scoring
Yeah,
game of the week or something like that.
they
Pretty
got up there.
surprising to me. Yeah, very surprising with the way those teams have been playing all year. But yeah, I mean, the Jets nearly hit the over-under line themselves, but then Green Bay covered handedly, so did Denver. And then the Colts at Denver over 44. I guess that's actually kind of a push because it was exactly 44.
Yeah, that is a
Um,
push. Yep.
yeah, so I guess I got to change that. But we'll still take it because it's not more than we still got more wins than losses.
Oh yeah.
Pittsburgh +5, fortunately, does not cash, and neither did Chargers -3. Really felt more
Yeah, I
confident
felt good
about the
about both of
Chargers.
those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the Chargers just get absolutely walloped.
Hmm.
But the Tampa Bay Chargers over 45.5 was a great bet.
Good
Tampa
bet.
Bay nearly reached it, and then Cincinnati -5 as well. Although Titans certainly kept that a little bit closer than I was expecting.
They did. Yeah, it was an ugly game. Combined like
hmm
25 penalties, a bunch of turnovers. But
Craziness.
let's roll on into our week 16 picks and predictions here with Thursday Night Football. Very meaningful in terms of seeding wise. I mean, both these teams, I feel
Oh
like the
yeah.
AFC playoff picture is pretty much already set. The Chargers, which are currently the 7 seed, are 2 games ahead of the Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals, who are
hmm
technically in the hunt, but they beat the Bengals head to head. They might have beaten one of the other teams head to head by now as well. So they're pretty much locked in, but in terms of who will be the 6, who will be the 7, I think this game's pretty impactful. I'm going to take the home team, the Chargers here. Not like that home field advantage really means anything, but
hmm
I just don't see Denver sweeping the Chargers. Although I think did the Chargers win their last meeting? I'm honestly not sure. I think the Chargers might have beaten them in Denver. But either way, I feel like the Chargers are due for a win. They have kind of struggled. They've kind of gone back and forth over the last few weeks. Offensively, been really just a water gun, water pistol. I think at home here, they'll be able to get back on track, and Denver's due for a loss.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad pick at all. LA did beat Denver
Yeah,
earlier
that
this
sounds about
season.
right.
Yeah, so I am going to be taking the Broncos here in this one, though. Just feel like they've been continuing to be hot lately, and like you said, Chargers are kind of locked into this sort of playoff picture. They've still got a lot to play for, but I mean, it's not, uh, going to have any serious ramifications if they do end up losing this game because they really should ultimately get into the playoffs either way. But yeah, Denver just feels like the better team here.
Yeah, no, that's a totally fair pick for sure. We got some Saturday football, Houston at Kansas City. I gotta take Houston. Patrick Mahomes is likely going to be out. And now, yeah, they're not even favored at this point. So it feels like the Texans should be able to win this one against
Yeah.
backup quarterback Carson Wentz, who's not bad, but I just,
hmm
God, if the Chiefs keep winning in ways they really should not be
hmm
winning in, keep getting lucky, keep winning in this case with a backup quarterback, God, something's rigged. So I'm gonna roll with the Texans here. I really like this pick.
Yeah, no, that's a great pick. That's honestly probably the right pick to make here, but just based on historical luck, I still have to continue picking the Chiefs here. I know Mahomes is banged up, but you can't count out all of these fluky wins that the Chiefs have got. I just I'm just going to bet on that happening again. Like it just feels like it could be in the cards with Carson Wentz at the helm, leads the team to a crazy come from behind victory by 1 point on the last play of the game. Like it just feels like something like that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I do think they're gonna flame out eventually, maybe probably in
Yeah.
the playoffs, just have a utterly disgusting performance. And
hmm
yeah, it probably will be in the playoffs. I don't see them making the Super Bowl this year, unfortunately for them, but fortunately for all the rest of us who want to see
Yeah.
someone else there.
I know it's
Pittsburgh
they've got
at
to be like
Baltimore.
they've
Yeah, go
sorry, they got
ahead.
to be like one of the worst looking 13-1
Oh
teams
yeah. I
you've
mean,
ever seen.
statistically, they are the worst in terms of point differential.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, there have been YouTube videos calculating the amount of inches they are away from having five more losses. I mean, it's literally
I
probably
know.
less than a foot. So
Yeah.
it's wild. Saturday night, you got Pittsburgh at Baltimore. I'm going to take Baltimore here to get revenge for their previous matchup where Pittsburgh won. I do like Pittsburgh to cover, though. They are great as an underdog, although not last week. But I think the Ravens get this one here. And then I think that would take them and put them into the lead in the AFC North.
Yes, yeah, it would. But this game definitely some big ramifications here. You've got Steelers and Ravens, big division rivalry matchup here, and of course Steelers pretty much defying a lot of people's expectations here. Um, that being said, I am going to be taking Baltimore. They are the better team, despite their record being a game behind. This is where they prove to the Steelers that they're the ones who are going to win the division here.
Yeah, I think eventually they're going to come out on top, especially after how bad the Steelers looked last week.
Yeah.
Giants at Atlanta game, no one's gonna watch. But I'm gonna take the Falcons here. I don't like them to cover though. 10-point spread is just way too much. I don't think the Falcons should be favored by double digits to anyone. And the
Yeah.
Giants, they're due to be a little competitive. They're due. I mean, they only lost to the Saints by a couple points. They're due here for a little bit of a better performance. Not gonna say they're gonna win or anything, but I think they
hmm
could potentially keep this game close. That being said, I will continue to ride with the Falcons.
Yeah, Giants plus 10 is definitely one of the best bets on the board here. I mean, the Falcons are not a very high-powered offense, and like you said, it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to be favored by 10. But yeah,
Yeah.
also going to be taking the Falcons here. Giants don't really have what it takes to get a victory. In any case.
All right. We got Detroit at the Bears. So Detroit usually struggles when they come to play in Chicago in the coldness here. That being said, though, I am going to take the Lions. After what I've seen out of the Bears the last few weeks, I have no reason to believe that
Yeah.
they're going to take advantage of that home field advantage and the historical trends that Detroit struggles here. They just have looked flat. They come a little bit alive in the second half. At least Caleb Williams hasn't turned the ball over that much, but it's bad right now. Coaching all over the place. Defense is getting tired. It's not
hmm
like they even played that bad against the Vikings. Eventually, though, the dam's just gonna let loose. So I'm gonna take the Lions here. They're coming off of a tough loss, but yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for them losing David Montgomery, though. That's really
Yeah.
impactful, I think, for their, playoff and Super Bowl aspirations, but should be enough, though, still to win this game.
For sure, yeah. I mean, Jameer Gibbs is, a fantastic talent, and it's not like they're now depleted at
No,
running back because
not
they've
at all.
still got excellent. But yeah, he was just a dynamic threat for them to have on offense as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just like I can't pick the Bears. I mean, they lose 8 games straight. They're just looking terrible. They kept it kind of close against the Lions on Thanksgiving, but I mean, that was even just fluky. The Lions just in the first half of that game looked like they were running away with it, and then the Bears just kind of somehow crawled back. But yeah, in any case, it's going to be the Lions for this one.
I concur. Arizona at Carolina. I'm going to take the Cardinals here. Carolina can be sneaky at home, but yeah, I thought they'd play a little bit better against the Cowboys. I didn't think they'd win that game. I thought them being favored was wild, and they're not favored here, and I think that's the
Hmm.
right call from Vegas. Cardinals should be able to take advantage of a worse team, just like they did against the Patriots last week, kind of climb their way back into that divisional title race.
Yeah, no, Panthers gave me a little glimmer of hope when they played well against the Chiefs, and I think it was another game, maybe against like the Bucks or something, where they kept it
Yeah,
close.
overtime. Yeah.
Yeah. But unfortunately, they still are just not that good. Cardinals are the better team here, so I'm rolling with them this week.
Then we got Rams at Jets. Tough one for me to pick here. Another very enticing, like Jets pick almost, but can't do it. They've burned me too many times. Last week, they were playing a horrible team. This week, you get a well coached Rams off a couple extra days of rest, even though they're going across the country into the cold, which just really worries me here. I mean, like, this would be a game that the Jets win. I am still going to take the Rams. Man, oh my God. I want to take the Jets so bad.
The
Aaron Rodgers has dominated the Jets in his career, or not the Jets, the Rams.
Rams.
He has dominated the Rams, especially over the last few years when it's been that same kind of coaching staff,
Hmm.
Sean McVay.
Do you
But
have an example of a stat you can like pull out of your butthole here? Because you're like, yeah, last time he faced the Rams, Aaron threw for 368,
well,
4 tuds, and 1 pick.
there was the time in the playoffs in
Hmm.
2020 when the Bucks went on to beat the Packers, and then there was a time
Yeah.
a couple years ago when if the Packers won, then the game against Detroit to end the season would have been meaningful for them to get in the playoffs, but Detroit then beat them. I don't think Aaron Rodgers played that well. I would guess the most recent matchup, Packers Rams, when it was Aaron Rodgers. So not last year. Aaron Rodgers probably threw like, I'm gonna say he went like 19 of 30 for like 224 yards and like one touchdown.
Hmm.
Let's figure that one out here. I think that was 2022.
Yes, or no, November 5th, 2023. Green Bay has won the last 4 games against the Rams. They won 20-3 in on November 5th. So it does seem like Green
Wait,
Bay
which
kind of
one? When
has
was that from?
November 5th, 2023.
No, that's not the one because that was not Aaron Rodgers. That was Jordan Love. This was
Oh
December
yeah, my bad.
19th of 2022. Aaron
Okay.
Rodgers passed 22 of 30, so I had his attempts correct. 229 yards, so I was 5 yards off. One
Wow.
touchdown, which was correct, and but he did have an interception that I forgot
Dude,
about. And
you're
they
the
won 24
sniper.
to 12.
Dude, you got that Thomas Matthew Crooks accuracy, bro.
Yeah, that one I was three off on the attempts. I was accurate, or three offs on the completion, accurate on attempts, 5 yards off on yards, accurate on touchdowns, missed the pick.
Very impressive. But yeah, no. So you're sticking with the Rams here?
Yeah, I guess so. But I'm gonna
You
take the
guess
Jets to
so?
cover.
Okay. I'll give you props for your Jets pick last week because I did kind of dog on it a little bit.
Yeah,
I hate seeing the Jets on my little roster
I
here,
know.
my
They have
my
been just
sheet of
so
picks.
inconsistent.
They always are, bro. It's so frustrating. I have to take the Rams here. I can't bring myself to pick the Jets, probably in any game for the rest of the year.
Yeah, no, I mean it's highly unlikely they win more than another game, and it'll probably come against the Patriots. Oh no, they already played the Patriots twice, so they might not win another game.
Yeah.
All right, next up here we got Philadelphia at Washington, so another divisional rematch here. I'm going to take the Eagles to sweep them. I have not been super impressed with Washington over the last few weeks. They somehow let the Saints back into that game this past weekend. They still won, but not great, kind of on the back end there. I just feel like Philadelphia is so hot right now. They're such a weird team. It feels like they're so disconjointed with AJ Brown being upset about his targets, Sirianni yelling at players and whatnot. But at the end of the day, they keep winning in dominant fashion. So I'm gonna have to take him here again.
Yeah, no, it's a great pick. It honestly might be the right one to make here because the Eagles do feel like the better team with the way they've been playing. But I feel like Washington kind of has a thing for the Eagles, bro. At least based on last year, they always kept those games
Yeah,
really competitive. And with this game at home for Washington, I feel
right.
like they might be a little bit more galvanized than usual. So I'm gonna take Washington, but I do agree with you that Philadelphia is in better shape to win this game.
Yeah, no, that's a good pick. Especially being at home, it was very tempting. But moving on here, we got Cleveland at Cincinnati. So yet another divisional rematch, and I think Cincinnati's going to sweep this one here as well. The Browns, losing Nick Chubb, that's tough. Really tough for Nick Chubb. Really feel for the guy. Jameis Winston, just an absolute turnover machine. I think he had 3 picks. I mean, I know the Chiefs
Hmm.
had 3 picks. They might have tossed the backup quarterback there and then threw another one. But yeah, it's tough right now in Cleveland. They've shown some sparks of offensive potential. And I don't doubt that they'll be able to put points up onto the board. I don't think that the over is a bad play. I just think the Bengals are going to come out on top. The Bengals, see, if they beat the Chargers when they played in that crazy game, they would have a phenomenal path to still make the playoffs. But because of
Yeah.
that one game there, they're probably out. They would need if Denver beats the Chargers, I'm pretty sure that eliminates them.
Hmm.
But if the Chargers beat Denver, then the Bengals play Denver. If the Bengals beat Denver, then all that's got to happen in the final week is for the Bengals to win and for Denver to lose to the Chiefs. And
That's
then
a that's
the
a lot of
Bengals are in.
losing. That's a lot of losing for the Broncos, though,
Well, at
man.
least one of them's head to head, though. Like, so the
Yeah.
Bengals can at least try to control that one a little bit more. So,
Hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, it seems highly unlikely, but I guess it is still in the cards. It does kind of suck that they likely are going to be booted from the playoffs here because
yeah.
they have just looked so good the
Yeah.
past few
They're
weeks.
playing
I mean,
better on
or
defense, too.
their offense, yeah, especially their offense. I mean, they're averaging like probably 32 points a game over the last 6 weeks. I mean, it's unbelievable how many points they're putting up. I just can't get over how slow they start every single season. It's so frustrating.
Well, yeah, I mean, losing that game to the Patriots really hurt, when
Yeah.
it's kind of looking back on it. The other games, though, their defense really let them down. That's just been the story of it all year.
Yeah, no, it did. But yeah, I will be taking the Bengals here. I mean, they have been just super high powered on offense. Expect that to continue here against Cleveland.
Then we got Tennessee at the Colts. I'm gonna take the Colts here. Tennessee tossing in the backup quarterback, just throwing interceptions like crazy, looking so discombobulated. It's so bad in Tennessee right now. So, the Colts, they can take care of bad teams. They can't beat anyone worth their salt, though. I mean, last week against the Broncos, they were up big, and they could have gone up even more until Jonathan Taylor
Yeah.
dropped. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, I'm not sure. He might have some sort of special. I don't know, man. That was bad. Like that is you're a professional, right? And you've been in the league like 5 years. The fact that
Yeah.
you did that is pathetic. And you
Yeah.
probably lost your team the game. The momentum completely swung after that point. And I just thought that was probably one of the worst player decisions this entire season. And it's not like he's the only one who's done that. Like I've seen it in college. I think it happened with the Bengals. Actually, it did happen with the Bengals for a return, a defensive interception return for a touchdown. It happened
Hmm.
as well there. But for him, for the Bengals guy, it was more he was trying to switch hands and he bobbled it. This guy, Jonathan Taylor, just it was intentionally just dropping it
Yeah.
before.
Can you,
I know he's going fast, but like you got to just
yeah.
hold on to the ball, man.
I know.
So
I mean that
bad.
that stuff has happened far too often. I feel like Deshaun Jackson was kind of a guy who was did that several times back when he was in the league. But yeah, I mean, can you imagine the people who had JT on their team like in fantasy playoffs here
I know you
and
go
like
from touchdown to fumble.
yeah, and they, lose their game because of JT? I mean, this is an absolute joke for those people. I really feel for them. Thousands of dollars on the line. I mean,
Yeah, I
hundreds of
know.
thousands.
And had if the Colts won this game and the Broncos were to lose, tomorrow or whenever to the Chargers, and then the Bengals would be in them, then the Broncos would be out, the Bengals would be in.
I know that's
That'd be
exactly what you'd
crazy.
like, bro. I
Yeah, I
know I
would
know
like
you
that.
want that for Joe Shiesty,
There's
but
still hope alive.
very little, maybe like 2%,
I think it's 4% actually. I've
4%.
checked.
Okay. Yeah, you're running the odds calculations. You're cooking up Bayes' theorem and your conditional probabilities.
That's right. Professor
Yeah.
Dunn.
Yeah, I know you're
All
all about that, bro. Yeah, but
right.
I guess back to my pick here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be the Colts. I mean, yeah, Tennessee looking like garbage. I don't know how we got back onto the Cincinnati Bengals again here, but yeah, Colts over Tennessee. Tennessee is just a nightmare.
Minnesota at Seattle. So a little update. Geno Smith likely to play. Patrick Mahomes, Geno Smith both banged up. Geno Smith a lot more likely to play here from what I've heard. And even if he doesn't, I
Hmm.
think Sam Howell is pretty competent. I like Seattle in the upset. Minnesota coming off of a shorter week here. They're now tied with Detroit in the division in terms of standings. Obviously, they don't win the head to head right now until they play again, and maybe they could flip that. But my thing here with Minnesota, they are feeling good. I think this is exactly what happens. You get the lead or you're tied for the lead in the division, come right back down to earth. The Lions will probably beat the Bears. Vikings lose here. Lions back on top. Minnesota is now an uphill battle again. And this is a perfect trap game for them.
Yeah, no, I mean it's certainly possible that that happens, but I kind of just got to rip a little transitive property here, Minnesota beat Green Bay. Green Bay cooked Seattle last week. I feel like it's got to be Minnesota here over Seattle, so I'm gonna roll with them.
No, that's fair. I really did like Green Bay last week. That was a great, cover spot
Yeah,
for them.
yeah, yeah,
Jacksonville at, oh no, wait. New England at Buffalo. 14-point favorites. Josh Allen just about locking up the MVP. That's pretty exciting. I'm pretty
yeah.
happy
Love that
for him.
for him.
I mean, Lamar Jackson, throwing 5 touchdowns against the Giants doesn't really help, but I think they would give it to Josh. I really do. Even if the stats are comparable here, I think it's time for Josh to win one. I'm going to take, obviously,
Hmm.
the Bills to beat the Patriots at home. 14 points, though, that's a little much. That might be a little overzealous, but I'm just going to stay away from it.
Yeah, I mean they have been pounding teams, but then you get into those
Their defense
situations.
has gotten really bad, though.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and you even think back to last year where Buffalo ends up losing a really fluky game to New England when
Yeah.
they absolutely should have won it. And it just seemed like that's kind of the team that Buffalo is, where in these games that they should be a lock for, end up losing. So I'm not saying that New England's going to win this game. I'm definitely picking Buffalo. They've looked great, but definitely a line to be wary of if you are picking Buffalo to cover this spread. They tend to kind of let bad teams
Yeah.
stay in games.
Yeah, I think it's actually a really good bet. New England minus 14 or plus 14 here.
Yeah, yeah,
Jacksonville at Vegas. I'm going to take Vegas. Both these teams suck, but I
yeah.
think Vegas is just more due for a win, maybe. I don't
Hmm.
know. I really don't know. Like this game, I don't think anyone's going to watch it. Has no impact besides draft positioning. So
Right.
I guess I'm going to take Vegas. Don't feel good about it, though. Just stay away from
Yeah,
this game. Don't take a
I
side.
agree. Yeah, I agree. I don't really think people are going to be tuning into this one, but yeah, I'm gonna roll with Vegas here. Just kind of a homerism bias pick here. I mean, neither team, like you said, has looked good at all. Just gotta. I mean, I know that Vegas has got like 2 wins, but it just feels like they could be due for a win here against the not so good Jacksonville team.
I concur with that. San Fran at Miami. Tough one to pick here. I feel like San Fran could come out a little feisty. Again, a couple extra days of rest, and it's really impactful when it's a well-coached team like the Niners.
Hmm.
They are a little bit in disarray. We saw what happened, last week in the rainstorm while their players just not wanting to go into the game, now getting suspended for the rest of the season internally. I'm going to take the Dolphins because of all of that, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners pull one off here. They do have to travel across the country, though.
Yeah, no, that's a good pick there. I'm also going to take Miami here this week. Yeah, they didn't look quite as impressive as as I hoped that they would this past week against Houston. But I'm still going to be taking them. Really thought San Fran looked just abysmal against the
Yeah.
Rams. And I know that like the rainstorm, you gotta give some credit to that. But they still looked really bad. So I'm going to be rolling with the Dolphins here, but they are looking like a joke of a franchise too.
Yeah, no, Dolphins just can beat up on bad teams, especially at home. So, I mean, I guess that kind of fits the bill here. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think the Dolphins are. Yeah, I mean, they're certainly not going to make the playoffs or anything like that. But
Hmm.
that little surge when Tua came back was nice. It was cute, but pretty
Yeah. Well,
pointless.
not sustainable. Yeah.
No. Tampa Bay at Dallas. I'm going to take the big upset of the week here. I mean, it's not that big, it's a 4 point upset. I'm going to
Hmm.
take the Cowboys in Sunday night football. The lights are on. They're at home. Bucks feeling good, riding high, beating a lot of bad teams. I mean, the Chargers are pretty solid. That was a good win. I'll give
Yeah.
them that.
They
But
rolled the
outside of
Chargers.
that, I know, but they also went to overtime against the Panthers, and they had some
That,
other ugly
yep.
losses, right?
Yeah.
They did beat Detroit early on in the season, but I do think that was fully fueled upon revenge. I'm gonna take the
Hmm.
Cowboys here to upset the Bucks and throw the NFC South in the complete disarray. I mean, the Falcons, that this would be really tough for the Bucks to lose this game because if the Falcons were to beat the Giants, which they are heavy favorites in, I think they would be tied, and the Falcons have the sweep on the Bucks, which is good for you. You took the Falcons to win that
Yeah.
division, so
Yeah.
that's really,
Yeah.
really good. But it's not good for the Bucks, considering I
Yeah.
think we all think right now the Bucks are better than the Falcons, and I think we would all take them to beat the Falcons if they played again. But that's just it's really unfortunate they got swept.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm taking the Bucks here. Well, also that lay like has no chance of hitting anyways, because I think I had said like that the Bengals were gonna win the division,
Yeah.
and so like that's obviously not gonna happen. But yeah, I'm going to be taking the Bucks here in this one. Just feel like they have more to play for here. I mean, the Cowboys are. I mean, I don't think it's even possible for them to make the playoffs. It seems like
I think there is a
they're
small, small, small
really
chance. Yeah, it's the I
no
was checking and
way.
it's weird because there's a team like the Niners who have the same record as the Cowboys have 0% chance, but for whatever reason the Cowboys do have a less than 1% chance, but it's still a chance, whereas the 49ers who have the same record for whatever reason they don't have a chance. I don't understand the math behind it right now.
Okay,
I'd
I
have to dive in
guess
deeper, but they have
it would
0% chance. The
it would
Cowboys do
have to
have some
be
chance.
would it have to be like overtaking the Commanders? That's
I
the
think
only
yeah, they would have to win out and the Commanders would have to lose
to
out.
lose out. I guess that is
And
the
they would
only
both finish 9-8,
possibility.
but the Cowboys would have swept the Commanders.
Yeah. Well, that feels quite unlikely, but I guess yeah,
That's
still
actually kind of
still a possibility.
possible. I mean,
Kind
they
of
got
possible.
the Commanders got Eagles, Falcons, Cowboys. Okay.
Falcons are winnable.
It's winnable for sure, but I think the Cowboys, they just got to get past the Bucks and well then they got to play at the Eagles. So that's a little more
Yeah,
difficult. Yeah, that's a little
that's
tougher, but
problematic.
it's interesting though. It's interesting to think about.
Yeah, no, definitely interesting here. I really feel like the Cowboys are just due for not due for a loss, but like I don't think they're gonna win this game. Feels like their season's pretty much over. I guess they do have a little bit to play for. Doesn't feel like it's gonna be enough
Yeah.
to galvanize a team to a win.
Yeah, no, that's probably the smarter bet here, but I'm going to try and get a little edgy with it. Monday Night Football is New Orleans at Green Bay. I'm gonna take the Packers. They're like 14-point favorites. Jake Hayner's at quarterback for the Saints. Easy pick. Horrible Monday night game. I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's a little harder to flex this game off of that schedule, but
Yeah.
it's not probably the weakest Monday night football game.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you say about it? New Orleans has looked like dog water pretty much this whole year, aside from like the first 3 weeks, and Green Bay has looked really solid. So definitely taking them.
And that'll just about do it. Now, I know the schedule next week is probably a little different just because of Christmas. I'm sure they're playing games on Christmas, I would assume, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they got two games on Christmas Day. So that'll be interesting. That's going to be the both of those games are awesome, by the way. You got Steelers and Chiefs, and you get Texans and Ravens.
I love that. Yeah,
That's
very,
a, but I mean,
very
you can't ask
festive.
for a better Christmas gift than that, man.
I know, dude. Mr. Claus just coming down the chimney and giving
Serving up
me.
some good games, dude.
I love that, bro.
All right, but getting into the best bets here, let me rifle through these real quick. Houston money line, Chargers -3. Wouldn't be too bad to just take them at 2.5 though on the alt spread. Denver and Chargers over 42. I think there'll be some points in this game. Pittsburgh +6. Now, historically, Mike Tomlin, the Steelers, are great underdogs. Now, I know they did not cover last week, but historically, they cover at a 62% rate, I believe it is. I'm going to take the unders in every college football first round playoff game. The weather is going to be
Wow.
awful in all the games, except obviously the Texas game, in which it'll be perfect weather, but I still like the under based on the complexities and the just defensive composures of both of those teams there. Florida -13.5 in their bowl game against Tulane, who lost their quarterback to the transfer portal. And that's pretty much it in terms of college football. I don't like betting the bowl games, but I do like Florida. I think I'll probably bet some more as time goes on. But for this initial wave here of bowl games, I'm just going to take Florida -13.5. As for the NFL, I'm going to take NFL plus or NFL. Giants +10, like we talked about. I'm going to take the Jets +3.5 alt spread, whatever the odds end up being, probably like -130. Washington +3.5. That's a great, yummy number, especially, you think they're going to win. They're very liable to.
Hmm.
Seattle +3. I think they'll win. Dallas +4. I think they win. New England +14. The over in the San Fran Miami game at 44.5, and the under in the Tampa Dallas game under 48.5 points.
I like that, dude. Yeah, those are definitely some good bets.
Thank you.
Sad that Notre Dame is going to be an under, though. Don't you want it to be a high scoring, electric game?
Yeah, I mean, whatever gets the win, though, whatever gets the dub. I think there's worlds where there was that game against the, Virginia a couple weeks ago. Well, that was about a month
Hmm.
ago now, where the under hit, but Notre Dame still put up 35 points. It's just Virginia
Hmm.
didn't put up many points. So it could still be a little bit, of a higher scoring in terms of Notre Dame, which is what we'd love to see if they kind of just rout Indiana. But I think
Yeah,
that this will be a lower scoring game considering there's a chance of snow. It's going to be super cold, and
right.
that applies to these other college football games up in the north as well.
I got you. Yeah, that's fair. All right, I got five best bets for you guys here this week. We've got Denver +3 against the Chargers. I mean, I'm picking them outright, so I think for them to lose by a field goal is certainly in the cards as well. Cincinnati -7.5 against a crappy Browns team. I'm honestly surprised this line isn't larger with the way that the Bengals have been playing. Then you've got Detroit -6.5 against the Bears. I know that they might struggle a little bit in Chicago, but you got to count on the fact that their offense is amazing and they're coming off of a really tough loss. They're going to want to play
Yeah.
hungry, play for the win, a big win. Then you got the Colts -3.5 against the crappy Titans. And finally, Philadelphia, Washington over 45.5. I know that it's just like stuck in my head that this game from last year that was like
Yeah.
35, 34, or something like that. Like I just
Yeah.
feel like this game is liable to be high scoring, 50 plus points. So that's what we got for you this week.
Yeah, no, I really like the Detroit bet. You really gotten the best of the number there while it's at 6.5.
Yeah, Detroit, I think I've had them like every week for like the last like 4 weeks. They just come through for
I
me.
know. They let me down last week, though.
No, yeah, that is
That
unfortunate.
onside
Yeah.
kick with 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I don't know what we're doing here,
Yeah.
guys. What are we
No,
doing?
yeah, that's crazy behavior.
Yeah, I mean, plus considering Buffalo returned it for like 40 yards, and it was like
Yeah.
a punch and touchdown. So
No,
I
yeah, it
feel
was
like they had a
insane.
better chance to. I mean, they almost won the game as it was. So
Yeah, no, they did, and then they had to do another onside kick last minute, and unfortunately didn't recover that one. But
they're impossible now. I mean, it's so
yeah,
unlikely considering you have to announce it to the other team.
right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, still a great game either way. Highest scoring game of the NFL season. Broke the record from the previous week in the Bills Rams game.
Yeah, I'm getting a
That's what
little
I love to
concerned about
see.
the Bills' defense. I mean, I know
Yeah.
this is a really good offense that they just faced, but giving up 42 plus points in back-to-back games has got to scare
Yeah.
you a little bit.
No, it definitely does. Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, they were facing like probably top three offense in the league against Detroit, and
Oh
yeah, I know
yeah, for
the
sure.
Rams definitely
The Rams don't
concerning,
even
but
score a touchdown the next week.
yeah, no,
I
that's
know it was raining, but
embarrassing.
Jesus.
Yeah, Cooper Cup without even a single catch, just destroying my chances of making the fantasy championships. I hate that. He ran 5 miles in the game without ever catching the ball.
Well, he did some good blocking though. You know, that
Yeah.
doesn't that get you some fantasy
Mhm.
points, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's I just tally those up for my like in imaginary fantasy points.
Of course.
Yeah.
Fan mail time?
Fan mail time. Yeah. I got Jimbo's new picks here. Got to rip through them real quick. So he's got Chargers, Chiefs, Ravens, Falcons, Lions, Cardinals, Rams, Eagles, Bengals, Colts, Vikings, Bills, Raiders, 49ers, Bucks, and Packers here. Let's see some noteworthy ones. Chargers over the Broncos here, so he's on the same page as you. He's got the 49ers here over Miami. We're both taking the Dolphins. Um, Anything else stand out to you there? Eagles over Washington.
Pretty
Nothing too
benign
crazy there.
picks. Pretty benign.
Benign. Fair enough. Yeah, Papa Bear didn't send in his picks quite yet, but I think he's a little busy grinding away at work, so we'll cut him some slack this week.
We'll allow it.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone's got to get those holiday assignments out of the way before Christmas. So,
Yeah, no, it's a busy time of year for sure.
yeah.
Well, guys, we appreciate you tuning in amidst the busy time, and we will be back next week. A little bit different next week, at least right now, with you're coming back to Chicago
Oh yeah,
to do an in-person pod. So it'll be like
in
old
person.
times, no
Mm-hmm.
faces. I have to relearn how to do it, and it'll be before the Monday night game. But we'll have in-depth analyses for the
In
Wednesday,
depth.
Christmas Day games.
Of course, bro. We have to.
Absolutely. So we'll see you guys then. Thanks for
Go
watching.
Irish.
Oh, yeah, big time. Bye now.